All right, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Erin Kirkland. I am a mother. I am an explorer, and for the last 10 years, I have had the privilege of writing about Alaska on behalf of children. So I've asked to be here today to share a little bit about how I took those passions of those things I just mentioned and made it into a career, which is kind of funny because after 10 years, I don't really consider what I do a career anymore. It just is simply part of the fabric of me, of who I am. But I do want to tell you over the next few minutes a little bit about our journey, which led to the destination of a little thing called AK on the Go. So our family arrived in Anchorage, Alaska in December 28th of 2005 from Charleston, South Carolina. We stumbled off the airplane. My husband and I both had new jobs. We had a very busy toddler. We also had a teenage son who we would soon find out would be diagnosed with an autism spectrum disorder. So our lives, almost immediately from the day we got here, swirled around in this vortex of chaos. And anyone who's a parent can probably relate. But we also found a little bit of confusion because we really were never able to figure out where, how, and when Alaska families went to have fun. There were few resources, written resources at the time, no online mommy groups. If you go to Facebook now, there's groups for everything. And so as a family that was used to a lifetime of active outdoor recreation, this frustrated the heck out of us. So much so that one night I sat down with a bottle of wine and my husband and said, look, if we're going to keep living in Alaska, now really we only thought we'd be here for 2 years, that was 12 years ago. If we're going to stay here, we need to figure out a new way to live. And I said, oh, by the way, I want to quit my job. So my husband, who actually works in human resources and career development, said, great. But we need to have you answer some questions. So these are the things he asked me. And now you may notice that they look a little intrinsic and somewhat emotional, because that's who I am. But honestly, it was his philosophy that if I didn't know where I was value-wise, there is no way I was going to be able to start a new career going forward. So my parents had raised my brother and sister and I with a strong sense of community and community service. I knew I loved the outdoors. My dad was a forester. I spent my entire life on the trails and in the forests of the Pacific Northwest. And oh, fun fact, in 2006, 2007, there was nobody writing about family fun in the 49th state. So I took a plunge with the help of Alaska Adventure Media. They helped me build a rough little blog because blogs were all the thing. Mommy blogs is what they called them. And in 2008, very late in 2008, akonthego.com went live for the first time. Now it went live, but nothing really happened because social media sharing for platforms of business hadn't really happened yet. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, I wouldn't have known what to do with them anyway. So I copied and pasted the URL, and I emailed it to all my friends and family and said, will you share it with your friends and family? And then I went down to the Log Cabin Visitor Center. I didn't know any of you people. And I grabbed all the visitor guides I could find, and I dug up emails, and I sent them to those people. I'm kind of embarrassed if any of you got it now. I don't even be so afraid of what it says. And I crossed my fingers. So I would like to say that immediately everybody called me and said, hey, why don't you come on out and come experience our destination? And kudos, great idea. Yeah, good job. So while the parents, my readers, really, really did finally like it because now they had a resource for things to do with their kids in Alaska, I will say my first few conversations with the Alaska travel industry looked like that. So to the industry's credit, I was this rogue coming in, trying to sell a destination for families who, children barely made a blip on the visitor industry statistics, right? Adriel, I think, said, lots of gray hair, right? So I got lots of figurative pats on the head, some very nice, oh, we wish you the best of luck, good idea. But nothing really went further than that. So it was very clear that I needed some allies. Whoops. So some of these people and organizations you may recognize. So allies these are the people who are going to take my crazy idea, at least in some level, and walk forward with me step by step. They're going to give me the opportunity to start writing a little bit more and a little bit more about Alaska. Some of these people were starting businesses at the same time I was. Some of these people were people who are larger in life and you can't ignore, and I guess we all know who that is. Some were larger businesses that could afford to take a mommy blogger and let her come out and write a short story without damaging their bottom line too much, or their reputation, depending on what I was writing. So these were the people that really became my champions, and there's no way I would be able to move forward without them. So once I started posting, well, actually, I'll be honest, it took probably about 100 blog posts before the industry started to notice what I was doing and my readership started to increase. So from then on, the baby steps became really big steps, and AK on the Go started to explode in popularity. Social media helped a ton with that as well once I figured out how to use it, which is funny because I am all over social media now, those of you who know me. All right, so takeaways from this. Of course, there's always takeaways when you start a new endeavor. Actually, every year I sit down and reevaluate this. Something like this hangs on my office wall. So these are kind of my important 4 things I need to remember. 1, I need to show up. Being at the right place at the right time only matters if I make a point to be there. So I joined everything I could. I probably drove the industry crazy because I wanted to, can I join this committee? Can I be part of this? But I loved that. That's what helped me build relationships, and relationships in Alaska are everything, which leads to number 2, listening. I need to listen more. I think all of us can listen a little bit more, right? I need to listen to critiques. I needed to listen to suggestions, but I also needed to make sure I was listening to my audience. What do kids want from their experience in Alaska? What do parents need from their experience with their kids in Alaska? And how can the industry provide that? So I'm kind of that middleman between those 2 things. And I think actually it's really become a wonderful relationship to be able to promote Alaska family travel, because now we all have the tools we need. All right, find the champions. I had to find my allies. These are the great people. Everybody here in this room who's in the business, I have had the pleasure of building a partnership, a relationship with, and I could not do this without you. And then finally, embrace this place. As in asterisk, you get to be here. So I want to tell you a little bit about how the you get to be here, we get to be here came to be. I was working with Uncruise Adventures. They hire me when they have lots of kids to be what they call a kid wrangler. It's like a glorified onboard camp counselor. So I was showing a slideshow of all the pretty pictures of what it's really like to grow up in Alaska, and this little girl is sitting down on the floor, and her eyes are getting huge. And at the end, I said, do you have any questions? And she stands up, and she slaps her hands to her head. She goes, I can't believe you get to be here all the time. Uh-oh, what happened? What happened? There it is, okay. Okay, guys, it's not here. Okay, tech guy, you better fix that last slide because it's the best. So let me just finish up. Is there any way we can get that last slide up? Okay. Thank you. So I get to be here. Every single one of you gets to be here as well. So this last slide, which I hope you can bring up, is a collage of children who I have met through the course of my 10 years of writing about and exploring Alaska. Every single one of them has the potential to become a future steward of Alaska. Some of you have heard me say this over and over and over. Every single kid who lives here, every single kid who visits here has the potential to save Alaska in the future. John F. Kennedy once said that children are the living messages of a time we will never see. So that is my career. That is what I get to do every single day. I get to show kids Alaska from the perspective that they understand and that you guys help create. Thank you.